Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming in. I'm Prabhas Srivadana from WSO2. I've been with the company for almost 12 years now, and mostly working on the WSO2 Identity Server. If we are using Ethos Identity, you all are familiar with Ethos platform. Ethos Identity is part of the Ethos platform, which let you build single sign-on, a unified login experience between multiple campus applications. WSO2 Identity Server is the one behind Ethos Identity. And I've been with the company since the first version of Identity Server. It was released in December 2007. I joined the company in November same year. If you are new to WSO2, WSO2 is the #1 open source integration vendor. And also, we are the 6th largest Apache committer. So that shows how we are committed to open source. Everything we do is open source. It's released under, Identity Server is released under Apache 2.0 license. Apache 2.0 is the most business-friendly open source license. And we are also the 6th largest open source vendor overall across all the domains globally. How many of you have heard of WSO2 before? Oh, great. We have offices in Colombo, New York, London, Mountain View, Sao Paulo, Sydney, and the latest one is in Berlin. I'm based out of Mountain View office, and our R&D center is in Colombo, Sri Lanka, where we have about 450 engineers. And WSO2 Identity Server was recognized as a leader in the KuppingerCole Leadership Compass to Access Management and Federation end of last year, and also recognized as a leader in the KuppingerCole Leadership Compass for CIAM, Consumer IAM. This is like overview of customers we have. You can see it's spread over different verticals. And if you want to go through any of these use cases and see how they use WSO2 Identity Server, please visit our booth. We can get to the details. Okay, so this is the main topic, Identity Server. Yeah, so these are the focus area of the product. Web single sign-on and identity federation, identity broker, or acting as an identity bridge, then strong and adaptive authentication. I have a demo. Earlier I was planning to do a recorded demo, but yesterday I thought I would do a live demo. So please bear with me if something happens, right? So live demos, anything can go wrong at any time. But I would like to do live demos. So in the first 3 use cases, that's our strength, right? And we've done a lot of changes, improvements in those areas. Then account management and identity provisioning, you can deploy Identity Server or any existing user store. It can be an LDAP, it can be Active Directory, or any database. Then also we do support identity provisioning. We support SCIM standard. SCIM is the de facto standard for identity provisioning. You can send user details via our inbound SCIM API, and also you can outbound provision to other connected systems. Right? When you register a user, you can send that request to Identity Server. Then Identity Server can provision to a database, LDAP, Active Directory, and also outbound provision. Right? And also, if you have custom or your own systems, applications that you need to provision users at the time of user enrollment, then you can write connectors to Identity Server and do outbound provisioning. We do support fine-grained access control. We support SACML-based policies, and we also have planned to support OPA. OPA is the Open Policy Agent. It's becoming very popular in the microservices domain. So we plan to support that too. And Identity Server acting as a policy decision point, and it has its own REST API. So when someone logs into a web application, you can find out who the user is and what resource this particular user is going to access, and capture that details and talk to the Identity Server's PDP endpoint to see whether this user is eligible to access this resource or not. If you are using APIs, like if you have an API gateway in front of your APIs, then you can probably have an interceptor which talks to the REST API and see whether this particular user is authorized to access this resource or not. Then API security, that's one of our very strong areas. We do support all OAuth specifications. OAuth is the de facto standard for API security. We do support all the standards around that. So once again, if you have any APIs, you can use WSO2 Identity Server to secure them. Then identity analytics. And also one more thing, we have end user portal. It's a self-service portal. You can do password recovery, then password reset, update user profile, consent management, set up MFA devices, everything is available in that user portal. I'll show you that too. Okay, so this is a very like high-level snapshot of where we are today. We have very large-scale deployments globally. Trimble is one of our old customers. They've been with us for more than 10 years now. They have deployed Identity Server over 20 million user base, and they do 1 million plus authentication requests daily. And Cablevision, based out of Latin America, they have deployed Identity Server 20 million users to Mobile Connect's a deployment in India. All top 6 mobile network operators in India, they are using Identity Server to support Mobile Connect. And Mobile Connect support is available to 900 million Indian mobile network subscribers, but actively only 20 million are using it. Express, another major retailer in US, then DirecTV is using Identity Server over 5 million user base, then Seagate, Nissan, all our Identity Server customers. At the moment, we have about 150 production customers. These are the paying customers. So our product is open source. Anybody can use it free without any subscription. These are the people who are only having a subscription with WSO2. And also there are more than 500 education institutes which are working with Ellucian using Ethos Identity, which is backed by WSO2 Identity Server. In fact, Ethos Identity is WSO2 Identity Server plus the CAS connector developed by Ellucian. So everything that I discussed today is available through your Ellucian Identity product. Yeah, we have 100 plus partners globally. Yeah, so I have set of slides, like 20 plus slides here, but I won't drive the rest of the presentation through a live demo. I may not go through these slides, but we'll share the slides with you so you have all the references and details there, right? Okay. Identity Server, you can, if you go to wso2.com or through the Ellucian, you can get the Identity Server, download. It's about 300 MB download. You need to have Java set up. We do support JDK 8 now, Java 8. And Java 11 support will be out there end of Q3 this year. Right. Once you download it, you just need to set up the Java home, then spin up the server. Very simple setup. And it comes with an embedded LDAP server, so you don't need to worry about connecting to any other databases. Even it has its embedded database. But in a production setup, you may need to connect to your Active Directory, LDAP, or any other database. Okay, so I have this running. This is a management console. Once you spin up the server, you can access the management console via port 9443, but that can be changed. And everything, the old screens that you see, those can be rethemed. Right? Now let me log in as an admin. This particular instance is connected to an LDAP server. The first demo I'm going to show you is very straightforward one, and I'll expand on that. How to connect to an OpenID service provider, a web application running on Tomcat via Identity Server, right? So you have users in LDAP behind Identity Server, and they want to log into a service provider running on Tomcat via OpenID Connect, right? So this is my OpenID Connect application. This is running on running locally on Tomcat, and this is Identity Server. We represent all the web applications as service providers in Identity Server, right? So to do that, I need to create a service provider. Click Add and create service provider. I have already created one. So this is that service provider which represents the Tomcat application. I'll show you the configuration. Okay. Here, the most important configuration is inbound authentication configuration. Inbound authentication configuration means how you can handle an authentication request coming to you from a service provider, right? A service provider can talk to you OpenID Connect, can talk to you SAML, WS Federation, CAS, right? So if you have deployed Ethos Identity with CAS connector, then you may see the CAS configuration appearing here too, right? So this list is not static, it's dynamic. You can develop your own inbound authentication plugin system, then this will appear here. Okay? So in this particular case, since the service provider is using OpenID Connect, I need to configure OpenID Connect. Right, so you go here, then you can pick any of these grant types. I won't go into details. It's based on the application you are running. One important thing, if you are using native mobile apps in your environments, then you must use this PXE. PXE is for proof key for code exchange. If you are using native apps and if you want to secure that with O2O, the recommendation is to use authorization code grant type and with PXE support. Otherwise, your authorization code or access tokens can be leaked. So we do support PXE in the current version. Yeah, that's mostly it. I won't go to the details. Now I have my service provider up and running, inbound authentication, and I have the tokens, right? Then I can configure how to authenticate the user once user get redirected to the identity server, right? So here I'm using default. That means just authenticate the user with username and password from the underneath LDAP or the user store. That's it. Now, if I go here, I'll spin up a private window. If you go here, click on login, you get created to identity service login page, right? And I can log in with the user there. Yeah, so now I'm logged in, and also you can see my user profile, right? What attributes I get from the IDP. And when you configure a service provider here, you can also specify which attributes I need to pass. So here I have specified, okay, I need to pass full name, email address, last name, given name to the service provider. That's a very basic demo. Next, I'll show you how to expand this demo to support multi-factor authentication, right? Let's say I need to authenticate the user having SMS OTP as a second factor, right? To do that, once again you go to service provider. So service provider is your web application. You go here, edit, and then go to local and outbound authentication configuration. Click on advanced configuration. Now you can configure multiple steps. It can be any number of steps, right? First step, I need to authenticate with username and password. So I pick basic authentication, and I need to add another step. There I need to use SMS OTP. So SMS OTP is a default connector, comes with the product itself. It's all open source under Apache license. That's it. You have the basic SMS OTP, done, update, update. Now let's copy this URL. If I try to log in again, I should get an SMS. Let's log in with Peter. Yeah, I should get an SMS now. Okay, still not. 90. Okay. It's 530391. Okay, so now I'm logged into the service provider with the second factor authentication. Now let's expand this to a more complex scenario. Let's say in our company we have multiple roles, right? So this is a pickup application. Let's say we have a role called pickup user and a pickup admin, right? You can define roles here. Like these roles can be fetched from you underneath LDAP or the user store. You have the pickup admin and pickup user, right? Then you can assign users to these particular roles. Let's say when a user who belongs to pickup admin should authenticate with FIDO as a second factor. So FIDO is becoming the de facto authentication for MFA. Facebook, Google, all of them are using FIDO internally for their employees to log into internal applications, and also they have made it available for public users too. It's not very popular yet, but it'll get popular. So pickup admins, they should use FIDO as a second factor, and pickup users, they should use SMS as the second factor. Anyone outside pickup user or pickup admin, they should not be able to log in a system, right? That's the policy we need to define. So if you look at pickup user, if you look at the roles, users there, John is part of pickup user, and Alex is part of pickup admin, right? But Peter, the user who we logged in before, is not part of any of these roles, so he should not be able to log into the system, right? So this is how you do that. So this is a feature we introduced to Identity Server from 5.7, and it's available to you through the latest Ethos Identity as well. You need to go back to service provider. This is our service provider. Then go to local outbound authentication configuration, advanced configuration. Okay. When you have multiple steps like this, right, they get executed sequentially. Authenticate first step, then second step, irrespective of anything, right? Now here we need to get control, like which step to execute based on certain like user attributes, role, any other attributes, right? To do, then if you want to get such control, you need to create a script here, right? So this is all JavaScript, and we have set of templates. So in this particular scenario, I want to do role-based access control. To do role-based access control, I have template here. I'll start this one. Okay. So this create a script for me, and also it added some authenticators. Let's see what I need here. So first step is fine. Second step, FIDO. I don't need TOTP, and I did another step, that is SMS, right? Sorry, not there. This one, SMS, right? So step 1 basic, step 2 FIDO, step 3 SMS. So that means if someone belongs to the pickup admin logs in, then we need to execute step 1 and step 2. If the user belongs to pickup user, then we should execute step 1 and step 3, right? If user doesn't belong to any of these roles, we should not let the user log in, right? Now let's change this the script. So roles step up, that is pickup admin, and we need to have another role, another array here. Let's say roles allowed, pickup admin, and pickup user, right? So pickup admin is the roles step up, pickup admin and pickup user are the roles allowed. Now if you look at this function, it says execute step 1, right? So once you execute step 1, if it is success, then we can get the user from the step 1 and see whether this particular user is in this particular role. So here I'll use this one, see whether user is in allowed roles, right? If user is not in an allowed role, right, we can redirect user to any error page, or even redirect back to the application, right? So here you can use this function, JavaScript function, send error, and we can send some error messages too, but at the moment I'll keep it empty. So I need to redirect user back to this page, right? Okay, good. Now if we are here, that means we are either a pickup admin or a pickup user. Then I can also see whether this user is in a step up role, right? So let's define a new variable here. Let's say step up, right? Step up, and here I need to see the user is in a role that we need to step up authentication, right? Then we can have if condition here. This is all JavaScript. If step up, right, then execute step 2, that is FIDO, else step 3, right? Step 2 is FIDO, step 3 is SMS OTP. That's it. Okay? Yeah. So let's see how this works. Good. Now let's try to log in here. Okay. Now let's try to log in with Peter first. Peter should not be allowed to log in, right? He should go back to the okay, something wrong. So, pickup admin. Okay, this is wrong, right? So basically, if you don't have the role, we need to redirect, right? That's right. Okay. Okay, so now let's try to log in with Peter. Okay, you get redirected back to the application. We can send error codes too. Now let's try to log in with John. So John is in pickup user. We should authenticate with SMS OTP, right? Okay, so now I should get a message here. Yeah. 43316. Oh. Okay, so now I'm logged in as John. Okay, now Alex. So here the Firefox browser I have, it doesn't support Fido, so I need to spin up Chrome. Get this one, and you can see I have plugged in a Fido device to my USB drive here. And if you go here, try to log in with Alex. Okay, it's asking me to tap on my Fido key. Okay, I just tap on it. Now I'm logged in. Right? This is because Alex belongs to the pickup admin role. Right? In fact, Alex has configured the Fido against his profile. Let me show you the end user dashboard. You can go to end user dashboard via dashboard link, and I'll log in as Alex. Okay. Now, if you look at my profile here, right, under manage U2F authentication, we are supporting Fido 1 no U2F authentication. I have registered a Fido device against my profile. Right. So when I authenticate, the system finds out what my device is. So this is basically using public key PKI. Right. Okay. So let's get into more advanced use case. Now let's see how to integrate social login with this application. So without touching the service provider, let's try to enable Facebook login. Right? To do that, I need to first create a identity provider to represent Facebook. Right? So here you can add an IDP here. I already have added a Facebook IDP. This is Facebook IDP. Click edit, and federated authenticators. There we have one connector for Facebook. Right? So if you in fact go to store.wso2.com, it has all the connectors we do support. There are like 35 plus connectors we do support. We support social login with LinkedIn, Twitter, and like there are many other connectors. All of them are open source too. You can download them and install even in your Ethos Identity. Okay. Now if you go back here, yeah. So I have configured my IDP. If we want to do Facebook login, first I need to go to Facebook, Facebook application. It will give me client ID and client secret. It is in fact using 020. Now I can put those details here. Then I can also specify which claims I need to retrieve from Facebook, right? And also here another important thing, under claim configuration, I can do a claim mapping, right? So what I get from Facebook is set of attributes in a JSON payload, right? It has its own attribute. It has email, first name, full name, likewise. But those attributes itself, they are meaningless to identity server, just an ID, just a string. To make it meaningful, we need to map those attribute IDs to a claim URI or attribute ID which is known to identity server, right? Then identity server knows what this attribute is. To do that, we do this claim mapping. So email from the IDP is mapped to identity server's this URI. First name from Facebook is mapped to this URI, likewise, right? And also, we do support just-in-time provisioning. So that means if you just enable social login, user comes to the identity server will seamlessly redirect user to the Facebook, you authenticate, come back, and if you don't do just-in-time provisioning, we will just share the attributes with the service provider. But if you enable just-in-time provisioning, we will create a record for that particular user in identity server with all the attributes, right? So that way you can track all the users log into your application. Application level, you don't need to worry about tracking any of these user attributes. And if the application wants to get access to those attributes, we expose that through our Scheme API, right? So attributes the application need not worry about handling user data, storing user data. Okay, so we have the IDP set up. Then let's go back to service provider. Right. Now I can directly use this one, but I want to show some more complex use case. If we want to enable just Facebook login, then you can click on federated authentication here and pick Facebook as the authenticator. Then whenever you click on login in your web application, you will seamlessly redirect to the identity server, to the Facebook. You won't see even identity server in the middle, right? But in this particular demo, I want to show you like multi-option login. That means user clicks on login, comes to identity server. Identity server will show you multiple options, either login with your username and password or login with Facebook, right? To do that, go back to advanced configuration. Step 1, in step 1, we already have basic authentication, right? Now we have another option, we'll pick Facebook, add authenticator, right? Then we need to change this a bit, because if the user authenticates with Facebook, then we don't need to do MFA, right? We don't have the details to do MFA, right? To do that, we need to do some change here, right? We need to find out what's our IDP is, right? Let's say IDP, we can get that from context, dot steps from the first step. We need to, here basically we are finding out what's the IDP user used to authenticate in the first step, right? IDP, that's it. Then we can have a if condition here. If IDP equals local, then do this stuff. Right. Let's put an else to empty else block. Yeah. So if you are here, that's Facebook. If you are here, it's the local IDP. Right? Context, I think everything is good. Okay, let's try. Okay, so if you go to this application again. Okay, so once I click on this one, now you can see there's another option, Facebook, right? So let's click on that. If you only had one option here, then user won't see the screen. That option will get executed automatically, right? Click on Facebook. Now I'm on Facebook. I can log in with my Facebook login. Okay, I'm logged in, right? These are my attributes fetched from Facebook, right? And if you look at identity server, since I am doing just-in-time provisioning, if you go to users here, you will see a user called Prabha. This user being created on the fly with all the attributes, right? So we can fetch those attributes from Facebook and provision to the LDAP because of this claim mapping, right? So email in the response coming from Facebook is mapped to our own claim URI, so we know what's the LDAP attribute ID corresponding to that. Okay. So now let's try to log in with John. Now let's try to log in with John here. Okay. Now I can log in with John. This should execute the local login flow, and it should send me an OTP. Okay. 634273. Okay, so now I'm logged in as John. Okay. Okay. So I'll show another advanced feature. So here, if you look at these attributes, we can see the given name is John and the family name is Smith, right? Even in the previous case, we had given name is Prabhat, family name is Sirival, right? But let's say, so these are the fields we get from IDP. So IDP sends us first name and last name, right? But let's say we have a service provider who expects full name, right? I don't worry about your first name and last name, give me the full name, right? So how to do that? So identity server is the one which is in the middle. So identity server should be able to get the first name and last name from the IDP, concatenate both together and send the full name. That's one example. Then another example. You may have a service provider which needs to know the age of the user, right? But IDP provides you the date of birth. Then the identity server can calculate the date of birth, calculate the age from the date of birth and send the age to the service provider. There is another example. It can be an entitlement, right? Let's say there's a bar application. When you log into the bar application only needs to find out whether your age is greater than 18 or not, yes or no. It doesn't need to know about age, right? Then identity server can outbound federate to an external IDP, get the user's age, and see whether we can do a simple if condition there to see whether the user's age is greater than 18. If so, yes, right? So it's a very powerful feature. I'll show you how this works. Now let's go back to service providers. Pick up application, advanced configuration. Now we are here, right? So we need to do this to Facebook login. Let's define a variable to get federated user. Okay, so we need to get it from context dot steps dot subject, right? So this is the user from Facebook, right? Now we need to find out first name. It's fed user dot remote claims dot first name. This is the attribute ID from Facebook, right? Then we need to get the last name, fed user dot remote claims last name. Now we need to create a new claim called full name, okay, and populate fed user object. Remote claims full name, it's equals to first name plus space plus last name. That's it. We got the first name user from context of steps 1 subject, first name remote claims first name, last name remote claims last name, then we concatenate those together, build a full name claim, right? Done. In fact, if you go to service provider, here you can see the same attributes are there, right? Under claim configuration, you can see all these attributes just like as it is that we used in the script, right? Now let's see how it works. This one. Login, and I'll pick Facebook here. Okay, I'm logged in. Let's see the profile. Now you can see full name is Prabhas Sirivardhan and concatenated and send back, right? Okay. Now, any questions up to now? Yeah.
I have a question. Basically, I see this as a scripting.
Yeah.
So if I have a situation where I have this your target application is I have a multi-tier same application deployed to multiple servers,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to redirect certain users to certain nodes.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have an identifier in my user store where it needs to be redirected, so
Yeah.
that user always goes to that node.
Yeah.
Can I write that kind of script?
Yes. Yes. So any attribute can be retrieved,
Right.
and based on that particular user attribute, you can define the flow.
Okay, so if I can define a flow and redirect that without prompting anything,
Yeah.
the user needs to be transferred why he's getting or she's getting redirected to one particular flow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where you were mapping the Facebook attributes to the WSO2,
Yeah.
Is there a limited number of WSO2 attributes? Can you create new ones?
You can create new ones. So if you go to claims here, so this is a claim management. This is a WSO2 dialect. You can add any claims here, and these will map to your underneath user store attributes, right? So last demo, since you have time, so this demo is about OpenID Connect. So we do support other protocols too, like SAML, WS Federation, and other stuff, CAS. Let's see how to log into Salesforce with Identity Server, right? So Salesforce is using SAML for single sign-on. First we need to do is, we need to, there are two parts. First we need to introduce Identity Server as a trusted IDP to Salesforce, right? So Salesforce will trust any SAML assertion provided from WSO2. Then also we need to introduce Salesforce as a trusted service provider to Identity Server, right? First I will do introducing Identity Server as a trusted IDP to Salesforce. You need to go to Identity Providers, Resident IDP, configuration, inbound authentication configuration, SAML, and download Identity Server's metadata XML, right? Then I'll go to Salesforce, right? So in Salesforce under identity single sign-on settings, okay, I can create a trusted IDP here using metadata XML file. I can point to the one I just downloaded, create. That's it. So this includes all the attributes that Salesforce should know to redirect user to identity server, and also include identity server certificate here, right? Okay. So now I save this one. Then I need to represent Salesforce in identity server 2. I can do that by downloading the service provider metadata file from Salesforce site. I'll just download this. Okay. Now I need to enable login with this particular IDP to Salesforce. I need to go to company settings, my domain, and edit this one. And now this is the IDP name which I just created in Salesforce site. I'll pick this one. So now anyone who comes to Salesforce for this particular domain will get redirected to the identity server for login. Okay, the first part is done. Let's do the second part. Go to identity server. We need to represent Salesforce as service provider. Any application we represent in identity server as a service provider, right? Let's give a name, Salesforce, register. Now in the previous application it was using O2O. Here it's using SAML. So inbound authentication configuration, we need to pick SAML, configure. If you want, you can hand type everything. Like if you don't have metadata XML from the service provider side, but since we have a metadata XML now, you can click on metadata file configuration, choose file, and pick this we just download from Salesforce. Done. That's mostly it. Now we create a service provider. One little thing, we need to specify which claim we need to pass to Salesforce as the user ID. All right? We can pick it here. So I'm passing email address. Right? That's it. Done. Yeah. Now if I try to log into Salesforce, so this is in fact the Salesforce URL. Right. Now let's see what happens. Okay. So I can log in with Peter. Okay, now I'm logged in. Yeah. And there are a couple more things. So even in this case, like, so you logged into Salesforce, but still you need to provision Peter to Salesforce. Right? So the Peter's identity will be there in the summary response going from identity server to Salesforce side, but to do authorization at the Salesforce side, Peter should be there. Right? So either we can manually create that record, or we can provision that user from identity server side directly to Salesforce. To do that, in IDP side, if you look at, you need to define an IDP here. I haven't set it up. We have a connector for that, outbound provisioning connector, and you can pick Salesforce connector. And we can define rules too here. So when you add the user to identity server will automatically provision that user to Salesforce. Right? So we do support Salesforce, Google provisioning. Those are their proprietary connectors. And also we support SCIM and SPM. So if you have any system which supports SCIM, we can outbound provision users to there.
So these are pre-built connectors that you have.
Yeah.
And that comes with the WSO2 that store that you mentioned.
These are there in the product itself. You don't need to download and install. Yeah. Yeah. And these are all available with your Ethos Identity too. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to cover. If you go through the slides, they do have all the information in detail, but I think I covered most of the stuff. So these are the authenticators we do have. Identity broker functionality, adaptive authentication, account management, fine-grained access control. API security, we do support O2 and related standards. Then identity analytics, some of the analytics we do have. Then auditing and reporting, we do support all these regulatory compliances. And consent and preference management, that's the dashboard I showed you. Then you all know this, right? So all of you, if you're using Ethos Identity, you have rethemed your login page. Yeah, any questions? Yeah.
Is there any way to have a service provider redirect to different identity providers
Yeah.
based on certain criteria?
Yeah, yes, that's what happened before. Like, so if you go here, Facebook is just another IDP. Right? I have another IDPs too. Here ADFS. ADF is another outbound federated IDP. Right? So here you can see I need to connect. I need to pick which connector I need to use to connect to that IDP. So if it is ADFS, I'll be using SAML. Right? Then in the same way as you did before, under service provider, if it is just one IDP, then you basically you can pick that IDP. Under local and outbound configuration, you can pick federated authentication and pick that IDP. If it is ADFS, pick ADFS. User will get redirected there. But if you have multiple IDPs and if you want to redirect user based on some other contextual parameters, then you can write the script. Yeah, and execute step and put that step where you have the IDP. Yeah.
In the sessions, they mentioned that the timeout issue with Band 9, that with identity, there is a setting for timeouts that was set.
Yeah, you can set up timeouts per IDP based per tenant. So here under resident IDP, right? You can define certain like account locking, account this is idle time. There's some session timeout too. Yeah, 1 second. Password policies. Yeah, this was available only through the configuration files before, but later we added it to, yes, there should be some configuration on the UI. Otherwise, you can do that through the configuration file, set up the session timeout. But it's not based on service provider. It's based on IDP. Like if you have multi-tenants, so this is just a single tenant, you can configure for each tenant the session timeout. It should be there somewhere. Session idle timeout, we had those here.
One last question.
This is a session timeout. Yeah, it's other one at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that multi-factor authentication that you showed, it says it's all open source.
Yeah, all open source. Everything.
What
Yeah.
provider on the actual phone service that is
We were using Twilio.
Trillium?
So here you can see the
So that's
configuration.
Specific to way, there is a limit for how much text you can send.
That's based on the account you have with Twilio.
Right.
Yeah.
So you need to subscribe to Trillium.
You need to subscribe to Twilio.
Then, but that's a cost.
Yeah. So here you can see SMS OTP. We have authenticator for Twilio. So all these parameters you get from Twilio and put it there. Then you just use that service. Yeah.
Sorry, I come in late.
Sure.
I saw the script that you are using, JavaScript.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that support other language like Python script?
Not at the moment. So we'll see. Like so, this was introduced in last September, and we are doing more work on this to make it more developer friendly. For example, now you need to log into the management console, write the script, right? So we are developing plugins for VS Code, so you can just develop plugins from there and push it to Git, right? Following a naming convention. Let's say you just commit to Git with the service provider name on that script. Then from the identity server side, you configure the Git repo. Then you don't need to come to identity server. In the login flow, we'll pull the script from the Git repo, and based on the service provider, we execute that in the service provider path. So this is something we invest heavily. So you will see a lot of improvements. And if you have any feedback and if you have any like feature suggestions, let us know. And we'll be writing more functions too, like we do more built-in functions, JavaScript function where you can talk to HTTP endpoint from the script itself. Like you may talk to an authorization server. Say the user is authorized, then execute the other step. And maybe you can get some LDAP attributes from a user store. All these functions we plan to pre-build. Yeah.
So behind the scenes, do you run a Node.js?
No. So Java itself has a Nashon engine, JavaScript engine. We are using that. The product is written in Java. I think it's time out now. Thank you very much, and please visit our booth, and we can discuss in detail there. Thank you.